And if you have missed the attendance, you can put it in the chat box now. Okay, so let us start today's session. Let me share the screen with you. Yeah, is the screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
fine. So in our previous class, we had a look upon how for loops and a range function would operate. We discussed a program. We discussed the flow of for loop as well as range, how it is different, the parameters passed into for loop and also a range. Right? We in the range function or the range method, we discussed about how uh, different number of parameters, what they mean. The first, if only one parameter is given, when there are two parameters in the range function, and also when we have three parameters, right? So what do they mean? So here we had an example, for example here, that for I in range 0, 10 to 0 is the start value, 10 is the stop value, and 2 is the step argument. The step argument is like an interval, all right? It defines what gap has to be given between the selected numbers within the range. And ultimately it prints as long as the loop is not terminated, right? And this was the output that we saw, right? So on similar lines, now we will see how these methods or modules, how we import these modules, how we use these modules, what is the way to import it, how can we make use of the functions which are available in various modules, right? So like all other programming languages, what we have seen, how do we import these modules? It is somewhat similar what we are going to discuss here in the Python as well, right? So modules basically, which are I mean, anybody who can give me a rough idea upon what a module is, or what do we import when we import something before a program? What do they mean? I mean, what it is exactly? Can anybody give me a brief? Uh,
Installing
Sorry, come again, Aniket.
installing that particular module.
Installing a particular module. Okay. Anybody else?
Setup code used to decrease the length of Python code.
Okay, very good. A set of code which are predefined, which reduces the program, the length of the program, right? Anybody else? What are these modules that we are going to import? What do they have?
Something which performs specific functionality in program.
Very good.
Like if
Again,
we want to convert to
mhm.
speech, we
Like,
can import a module. Like when we want to convert text to speech, we import a module so that it
okay,
performs a specific functionality.
okay, very good. So these modules, you can say they are predefined functions which can perform a predefined task, right? A specific task which can take a specific number of arguments or input and can give you something output, right? So which are already predefined. Now, as we have already, most of you have already close to what a module would look like. So we have many inbuilt modules that we have already making use of, right? So input function, which we have continuously making use of, right? The input module, yeah. And also in the previous case, we made use of the length of the function, right? We made use of the length to find the length of the string and so on. So there are many different inbuilt function. Even printf is a inbuilt function that we make use of, right? So these these are what? These are basic set of functions which we have. Now, what are they called? These set of modules what we have, they are called as the standard library, right? Which you must have already come across this word. What are the library? What is the standard library and so on? So like we have a module called math. So any mathematical operations or mathematical related functions, if you want to operate or make use of in your Python program or any program for that matter, then you make use of this library function called math, right? You must have used in your C language math.h. So those were basically the modules or standard libraries or standard library functions, you can say. So basically these modules, what they have is they have a set of functions inbuilt into it, right? A single module, one module can have a different set of functions into it. So in order to make use of those functions, or what are those functions? These functions are nothing but, as one of you said, they are the predefined code which perform a particular task. So if we want to make use of these inbuilt functions, which using these predefined modules, then we have to import those modules, right? So how do we import? We have a standard keyword for that. We have a keyword called import, which uses to import any particular module. So the keyword import followed by the name of the module will allow us to import that module and eventually make use of the functions which are provided by that module. So if we want to include multiple modules in the same import statement, we can simply give the name of the module followed by separated by a comma, right? So we'll have a look on that. How do we declare those importing statement? How do we import multiple modules at the same time, right? So here is what the important point is, like it should have a keyword, proper keyword import followed by the name of the module, and more module name we can import, which can be separated by commas. So that is optional. So like we have a random function, random module, right? So like math module, we have a module called random. So what it does, it allows us to make use of the functions which can be called, which can make use of the random, for example, random integer function, right? So if we want to output a random integer out of, let's say, within a range, something, or within a boundary, then we make use of this random function, which is a part of a random module. So the name of that function is ran int, right? Ran int. So the way, uh, the approach to call that ran int function is prefixing that name of the function with the module name. So name of our module is random, right? So how we are going to call that ran int function is random dot ran int and parenthesis, right? So this is how, when we call a particular function within a particular module. So let's have a uh, hands-on with respect to the Python. Ideally, if you have those who have already installed the Python, they can uh, start implementing this code along with me. I hope you have most of you have installed. Those who have access to laptop and or PC have installed this Python software and doing the things along with me. So what we are going to do is we are going to open a new file, a new window, and okay, let's just save time and copy this whole thing. Or if we, okay, those who are doing along with me, okay, I'll go a little slow so that even you can do it on the same page. And if you face any problem, let me know. Okay, so in the meantime, those who have installed this tool in your PC or your laptop, or even if you are using on your mobile phone with the mobile application which I have suggested, right? So those who are doing these things, whatever we are discussing in our class, just put you can say anything in the chat box that you are working on it or you are implementing, or let's say install. Or those who are working with me or those who have installed this Python, put installed and working in the chat box so that I am aware how many of you have really working on this. Okay, Sanket says installed and working good. So those who are doing it now with the regular classes, whatever we are discussing, definitely they will have an upper hand when we come back and discuss the things face to face, right? So we'll have a better understanding, and Of course, these are theoretical things which have to be implemented practically also. So we don't have a lab for it, but we can have a hands-on session in our regular classes as well, right? So sooner or later, you may have to install these tools in order to get the hands-on experience. So I believe those who are putting this installed and working in the chat box, they are actually working, right? So I can see good number of students working on it. Good to see that, but in case if you have not yet started, I would request you to start as soon as possible, because uh, what we are discussing now is very basics, and once you have a good grip on what we are discussing now, the further programs which are little advanced will be easy for you to understand, and you can revert back anytime when you want, when we have these small programs already saved in our systems, right? So let me open my program once again, and I'll name it as print random. Let me save the program with the file in camel case letter print random.py. Okay, and I press F5 to execute it. So there's an error which says print ran int 1 comma 10 attribute error, module random has no attribute ran int, right? So let me go back to the, see, these are the things which what happens when we do on a, when we do a hands-on experience, right? So we will encounter the errors which we have never faced, right? Which we feel like it will work, but when we implement it, only then we can see the difference, right? So as you can see, I have done a small mistake in the calling the name function. I mean, the name of the function is what I have given as randint instead of randint, right? So let me save it once again. Press F5. Now you can see that I'm getting the output that 10, 10, 4, 7, 10, right? So these are, they doesn't have any meaning as of now, right? They are just a random numbers, but how have they generated? They have generated in within the range of 1 to 10, right? So let's say if I execute it once again, I might get a different set of numbers. See, earlier I got 10, 10, 4, 7, 10, and now I have 9, 9, 8, 10, 4. So as you can see, what I'm doing is we are just printing some random numbers here. So that's it. But you can see that we are making use of the range function, right? We are making use of the range function, which we have discussed in our previous class. So what it is doing is, it is checking for the range. And you can also notice here, we are only passing one parameter for the range function, right? So when we have one parameter, that means that is the stop value, right? It is by default the stop value or the end value. So the range is, the value that we have passed in the range function is 5. So it will check unless the value of the I reaches 5, and once the condition becomes false, it exits, right? So that is the reason we are getting only 5 output. So depending on whatever number you give, those many numbers we will able to get on the output side. Now, this is how multiple modules can be imported, right? So let's say we want to import modules like random. Along with random, we want to import module sys, which is system, right? Then OS, and then math. So what you can do is simply import in the single line by using a comma separated, right? So it's simple as it is. But there's one more approach, or there's one more method to import statements, right? The another method is using a from import statements. What from import statement does it? It allows you to import various functions within that module by only declaring it once, right? For example, this is the syntax for it. Like for example, if you want to import a random module, and you want to make use of all the functions inside random module, then you can simply declare in the beginning of the program that from random import star. So star here means that anything inside that random module. So you are by declaring this, you have access to all the inbuilt functions within that random module, right? So the advantage of this type of declaration, this is another type of declaration which is as good as what we have declared in the previous uh, program, what we saw, right? It is exactly the same. It is just another way to import. But the advantage of this approach is that we don't have to prefix our function name every time with the random dot, right? We don't need to prefix this random dot before calling any function. For example, when let me go back to our function and to the program, and you can see here that when we wanted to make use of a ran int function, we have to prefix the name of the function with the name of the module, that which was random, right? So random dot ran int. So that is the only thing that I mean, this is what we have to follow when we are importing in this traditional way, that is import random. But when we are importing using a from statement, that is from import, then we don't have to prefix this random dot. That is the only advantage that I have. But the other side of it is the drawback, I would say, is it is not the as readable as we have seen in this function, this program, right? So this is simply like an English like statement, like import random, and then you follow by a for loop, and then you print and go on calling the function whatever is belonging to random module, right? Or any module. So this is more readable compared to the from import statement, right? So that is another drawback. And uh, one more advantage of this traditional method, that is import random approach, is that whenever we are calling a function, since we are prefixing it with the name of the module, that allows us to retrace or trace back our program to understand where this function is getting executed under what module, right? So if we found or the debuggers, when they found any error, it will be easier for them to understand that which function is going wrong and which function is getting called under which module. So from the traceability point of view, this approach is more suggested or recommended than the from import statement, I would say. Fine. So having said that, so let us understand the last concept, that is the how do we terminate the program, how do we end the program, which is nothing but our last flow control concept. All right. So whatever we have discussed so far, these were basically the different types of flows that the Python allows us to have in our program, right? So one among them, and one of the important among them, is the termination of the program. So that allows us to execute or terminate or exit the program whenever we feel like exiting from the program, right? So this is another flow control concept which is used to terminate the program. So like we discussed in the previous slide, if you want to make use of these functions which are available, for example, the function name is exit. So if you want to make use of this exit function, the module that you have to import is sys, which is nothing but the system, right? System module. So this system module, what it contains it contains all the important system calls which are predefined in the form of a function. They are already predefined in the as a function in this module called sys module. So the method to import the module is same. You have to import followed. You have to include the keyword import followed by the name of the module, which is sys here, sys. And then when we want to call a particular function inside this sys module, you have to call it like sys dot the name of the function, right? So since we are looking forward here to end a program early with a sys dot exit function, we are going to call a exit function. So let's have an example of it, right? So let's say we have this program. Let me simply copy and paste so that we can save some time. So what we are going to do here is we are going to print something which will be in loop. So it will be kind of a infinite loop. But since we want to exit this loop when we achieve our objective, we will exit the loop using this system exit function. Okay. So let me save this program first by the name exit example. The camel case letter exit example.py. So those who are doing with me, I mean, you can do it along with me so that if you face any problem, I'll be here to clarify your doubts. Okay, so we have saved this program. So before executing this, let me show you line by line what we are trying to do here, right? So what we're doing is we are importing the module called sys module. Now this sys module can have multiple functions. It can have various other functions which are defined inside this module, inbuilt functions. And then once I call this module, sys module, I'll be eligible to call any function inside this sys module, right? So in short, in other words, if I want to make use of any system related inbuilt functions, I have to mandatorily call this system module. Now, what we are going to do here is we are going to put an infinite loop by giving the true condition. So what this loop is going to do is it will check the condition while true. So true will be always true, and that means this will go inside an infinite loop. And at first it will print a statement that type exit to exit. Okay, it's a simple statement that we have to type exit to exit. We are prompting the user to type exit if we really want to exit from this infinite loop, right? So once the user inputs the text, which will be stored which will be taken from using an inbuilt input function which will be stored in the form of string, and that string will be assigned to the variable name called response. Now whatever the input is given by the user, it will be stored in the variable name response. Now we are checking that if response is exactly equal to the string exit, right? So this single quote denotes that it is a string, right? So what we input here, whether this exit is exactly equal to this exit, what we are supplying here, what we are comparing here with the response variable. If it is true, then call system.exit function. So this, what we are doing is we are just abruptly ending the loop, right? System.sys.exit function. Now, once we are out of this if clause, we are going to print you typed and then whatever your response was, right? You typed. So we hopefully will be able to get the response that is exit. You typed exit. And at the same time, we are also trying to concatenate the response what we have with respect to whatever value that we have in the response with our statement, that is this you typed and then followed by a full stop. So it's a simple concatenation. I think you'll be familiar with this thing by now. Let us execute this code and see what we able to achieve. So let me close this and have a fresh execution. So you can run your program from here also, run module F5. Okay, so as you can see, it prompted me a message that type exit to exit. So let's say I type exit, but what I'm doing is I'm typing an exit in which the first letter is capital E, which is actually not expected from our by our program, right? So let's say I put it. So it says you typed exit. So it is showing me that you typed exit. Now you can see here it has gone again into a while loop, and it is again prompting me that you type exit to exit. So that means that we are still inside that while loop. We have not exited, because the reason being I have not typed exactly what was expected in order to get out of the loop, the while loop. So let's say I type exit this time with the small case letter E. So when I exit, you can see there is no more message being printed to me that you have typed anything all of that, but it has simply exited the while loop and it has come up to its normal state, which is this the right shift operators, what you can see, the three right shift operators, right? So now this in our interactive shell is back to its normal state. Now we are not inside the program yet. We have exited the program and we are out of the program, right? So far I think it is clear that how this system exit, simple system exit program would execute, right? So anybody having any kind of doubt so far, or things is clear? Please let me know if you have any doubt. Anybody, you can unmute your mic and tell me. If you're those who are doing, those who are working on it along with me simultaneously, if you're facing any other problem, please let me know. Or whatever we have discussed so far, is it clear? Hello? Yeah. Sanket says yes, sir. Srihari says yes. Okay. I can see fixed number of faces. I mean, the same faces which are responding. I would request others uh, to also be interactive. This is quite an interesting subject, and not just interesting, but a very useful subject from my industry point of view. In fact, I would like to, I think I have already told you in the initial class, the introductory class, that the Python is so far the most preferred language in the industry right now. So if you have a better grip on these languages, you'll have a better chance of getting selected in your campus placements. Yeah. So anybody, if you have any kind of doubt, please, you can stop me and you can ask me. You can unmute your mic and you can ask me now. Anybody, any kind of doubt? No doubt. Vibhas says no doubt. Satvik. Okay. So those who are working on it, those who are doing along with me, are you facing any problem? Those who are doing in mobile, okay, anyways. So if you don't have any doubt, let us move ahead. So basically, this brings us to the end of this chapter uh, inside this module, the first module, our first module, that was the Python basics, as well as we learned about, we learned about Python basics, the installation of the Python tool, and we had a look on what are the different types of flow controls, right? So this brings us to the end of the chapter, the flow control. This flow control, the system.exit, is the last flow control concept in the flow control chapter. So from next class onwards, we'll be learning about different types of functions in detail. What are the different set of functions which are available? Then we will be learning about some global statements, the exceptional handling tools. Then we'll have other statements also, like a return value and return statements, the none value, and other keyword arguments and so on. So before moving on to our next chapter, that is functions, I would like to have a short question answer session or a query or any clarification doubt session, whatever you can name. So we can utilize this another 10 minutes what we have for any queries that you have. Right? Yeah, anybody? And apart from that, if you guys, those who are working on these small programs, whatever we are discussing, if you want to share anything, what any kind of creative program if you have written, or any any modification in the program what we have discussed in the class here, you can present your screen here and you can show it to other classmates also. There is no problem in that. Anybody who has done something different from what we have discussed in the class, or done something, added something to what we have discussed in the class, you can go ahead and share your screen and you can demonstrate whatever you have done. Let it be any simple thing. It can be a simple program, let's say with respect to a simple calculator program, uh, right, or simple finding any value for any particular formula, right? Area of triangle or something like that with respect to Python, using Python language, right? Because we have discussed basics, almost every basic thing about Python, so which allows us to create small programs, maybe very simple programs, what we have discussed so far. So anybody who has done any uh, small program other than what we have discussed in the class? Anybody want to share anything? Yeah, please respond. If you have done any creative work, not just creative or anything, any modification of the programs that we have discussed here in the class, any amendment to the programs, what we have discussed here, you can share your screen and you can demonstrate to the other guys also, no problem. This next 5 to 10 minutes is open for query as well as any other miscellaneous thing that you want to do, that you want to demonstrate or anything. Yeah, Akshata. Akshata.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, anything that you want to demonstrate or whatever work that you have done, do you want to show to your classmates? It can be anything since you have been part of Yantra team. So, right, anything with respect to Python that you have done.
Yes, sir. So actually,
Yeah,
something like Google Assistant.
sure. So can you present it
It
now
takes the
and
commands
demonstrate?
in the laptop. So I don't have it now. I have saved that file to my hard disk. I'll show it by tomorrow.
Okay, okay, no issues, no issues. So anybody else who has done any kind of other activity with respect to Python language, any small program, they can demonstrate, or anybody who is having any kind of doubts so far, whatever we have discussed, right from lecture 1, you can ask. Yeah, anybody? See, I know, man. I mean, most of you not all, but most of you might be doing something with respect to Python. You must have done some kind of program, but don't be under fear or under this thing that your classmates have not done it, so I don't know what they will do, call you or tell you. Don't worry about it. If you have done anything exceptional that is commendable, we will definitely appreciate it. So before me pointing out to anybody, voluntarily, if you want to show whatever you have done, or may I have to then random pick, guys? Rajit,
Has
yes, yes, Prajit. Anything that you have done, any program?
sir, a small tic tac game I did, sir. But
So
my
that's what I'm
laptop,
asking. No, anything that you have done, you can demonstrate. It's in your laptop.
my sister took my laptop, sir. So now I
Okay, no
don't have.
problem. So can you briefly elaborate to your classmates what did you do exactly in that? Rajit?
Sir, I imported some modules, sir, from internet. I
Yeah,
copied some modules, sir.
okay, can you briefly elaborate it to your classmates?
Sir,
No problem, don't worry about it. I mean, just what I want to show to your, other friends that there can be very simple things that can be done using this Python language. And since it is very flexible, you can do a lot of things basically. But if you have done anything with respect to it, then you can
misusing keyboards, sir. Numbers 1, 2, 3, and all, sir. When we put one, sir, it will go to block one.
okay.
And similarly, if we take input as 5 and 9, sir, it will it will show that who is the winner and all.
If you give input as 5 and 9,
No, sir. I mean, sir, one row or column, sir. 1, 5, 9
okay.
or 1, 2, 3.
Okay, yes. So diagonally or horizontally or vertically.
Yes.
Okay. Right. So what all modules did you import in that?
Sir, from internet I copied.
But you must have understood the program, right? I mean, before execute. That is fine. That is fine. If you want to really, work on a particular program, it's totally fine to make use of internet. But you be in a position to at least understand what that code does, right?
Yes.
So as far as you are understanding that code, there is no harm in taking code from somewhere else, right? And provided that you do a little modification to it or add your own touch to that thing. So do you recall any module that you have imported other than the system module or because we just now discussed about modules, right? What type of modules can be
Yes.
imported? Yeah. So anything that you recall now?
Sir, I didn't remember model, sir, but I used the definition function, the def function and all.
Def functions. Okay.
Uh,
Fine.
and
So
that if
yes,
elif statements
elif statements. Okay. So
and for
these
loop and all.
such definitions is what we are going to learn in our next chapter, that is functions, right? So different types of functions in different types of modules is what we are going to learn in the previous. So good that you're at least thinking of doing something different, right? So it is totally fine that you are making use of internet. There is no harm in it because you're still learning. Once you understand this concept, you can prepare or develop something which can be your own, right? So I would encourage the others also to similarly think upon it, at least browse for it, and definitely you will learn a lot of things, right? So anybody else have done anything or want to demonstrate, or anybody else who is having any kind of doubt, you can ask before concluding the lecture. Put it it in the chat box if you have. Okay, Aniket Kulkarni says he has developed a turtle graphics not working, sir. Okay. What turtle graphics can you elaborate, Aniket?
Sir, means from 2 3 days I have tried to make a rainbow program
Okay.
using the but since in the
Using?
end turtle graphics, sir.
Okay.
So, but the problem is the output is not working at all.
Output is not working. What do you mean by that?
Output is not coming as a means rainbow.
Okay. So you are getting the output, but it is not in the form of a rainbow.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So there is no error in the program.
No, sir. No error.
It is
Yes,
showing you the output, but it is not in the form of a rainbow.
yes, sir.
Okay, then basically I may have to look upon what code you have written because it doesn't look like any syntactical error. It is semantical error. The flow of the program, the code what you have written, it might not be suitable. I mean, it might not be resulting into a rainbow kind of output. So I may have to look upon it. But good that you are at least trying to get something. Are you doing this using Python?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Fine. So let's see when we come back, we'll have these. We will clarify these things. We'll figure out what are these things and how can we make these things working. Right. So for time being, since we are discussing basic things here, so this is the opportunity for you guys to make your basics strong, right? Those who know about Python a little or more, you can make your basics strong. Others who don't have idea, they can learn, take help from these guys to understand, uh, find a particular project, a small, very hobby project or a mini project kind of thing, and work upon it because these things help you learn a lot of things indirectly or directly, right? So good to see that you guys are working on some or the other things. For those who are not, I would encourage them to do so. So if you don't have any doubt, we will conclude the lecture. Right? So we'll see you guys in the next lecture with the next module, that is functions. Okay, you can leave the meeting. Thank you.